And speaking of Apocalypse Please, that is the first track. Putting aside its somewhat muddy mix at times, the overall mix on this album and on this song is so much better than Origin of Symmetry. I mean, comparing the quality of sound in Apocalypse Please to Space Dementia, which also has a dramatic piano part, the difference is night and day. The song actually opens with an intro which consists of marching, rhythmic footsteps, and the sound of a person, a general, a military person calling out commands to a marching army. Immediately, the tone of the album that has been set is one with military undertones. We haven't got any clues melodically or harmonically as to what the tone of this album will be yet, as it's simply a rhythmic march. But what we are presented with is that something is approaching. This march is presumably towards us or towards something. And it is not simply one person walking, it is many people, an army on the move. So something is approaching us and something big is approaching us. And because we're using an army, that suggests something specific. What would you need an army to combat? Maybe another army, maybe a monster, maybe an apocalyptic threat. Either way, it is some sort of threat. So what the marching and the rhythm is telling us is that something is approaching, something big is approaching, and something threatening is on its way. Then the piano enters, and we have a separate rhythm line played. The piano is being played on every downbeat, lasting for a full crotchet, and in the background we still have that marching, oncoming rhythm. So we're hearing those two rhythms at the same time. The actual melody line of the piano chords can be heard in the highest note, which is going from an F sharp down to an F, so a semitone in between those two notes. We talked extensively in Origin of Symmetry about how the semitone evokes drama and tension, further cementing this idea that there is a threat. So F sharp down to F and then down to E flat, back up to F and then F sharp, and it repeats. So what we've done there is we have essentially created a root, second and third shape, where E flat would be our root, even if we're not thinking of it in that way. F would be the minor second and F sharp would be the minor third. So we can think of this as moving through an E flat minor shape. And the first chord that we hear the piano play is an F sharp minor chord. So all of these things are working together to create an ominous tone, one that is scary, one that evokes sadness and tension, and that whatever is causing that is approaching in the rhythm, or we are marching towards it. Either one, but the threat is getting closer to us. Matt's vocals are incredibly dramatic here, which is brilliant. The piano is being played really hard. The dynamics are like triple F, as loud as they can be played. Certainly in the bass notes, that's what it feels like. And the drums have not established a backbeat yet. They have simply been playing the marching rhythm on the toms, or they've been doing these fills in between. We're accentuating the drama, we're building up. And when we hear that backbeat, it's when the vocals move from being very belty in Matt's chest voice into more of his head voice. A gliding and soft vocal delivery as opposed to the dramatic one that he just had. And I think these vocals are very interesting because they juxtapose the drama and aggression of the piano underneath. But now the drums have locked us into a solid backbeat, this now feels more like a song with direction. Whereas at the start we were identifying what this threat was, now that we have the inclusion of the snare and the hi-hat in a solid 4/4 groove, we are now on track to meet that threat. Whether or not we win against this threat or lose is not known, but our cart has been put on the rails towards this threat. We are now accelerating up into another gear of moving towards it. And the song structure is so interesting. You would think that at the start of the song, we're starting with a verse, and that's how I would think of it. And then when Matt enters his head voice, it feels like we've left the verse or we've developed the verse in some way. But this very naturally leads into what becomes the chorus, where Matt is singing, "This is the end of the world." After which we return to the stomping, marching intro at the start of the first verse. And we repeat this structure after the next chorus, not returning to a verse, but instead entering an arpeggiating section, where the drum groove completely changes, and we can hear these synths arpeggiating up a scale, in the same chords that the extension of the verse had. Matt's vocals join this section, but you can't hear any piano in this section. It's completely dropped out, even though it is the primary instrument of this song. It really makes you wonder what this section is actually trying to convey. In the lyrics at the start of the song, we were establishing the threat by declaring an emergency, spreading a sense of urgency, which then led to that backbeat, the acceleration of the presence of the threat, so that we could be pulled through the threat to the other side and survive whatever danger is approaching us. Because if we don't pull through this threat, it is the end of the world. Once that threat is established, the singer says that we need a miracle, something biblical, emphasizing how dire the circumstances must be, as only divine intervention will pull us through this threat as we're facing the end of the world. And then after this bizarre section where the piano leaves, the singer re-enters by saying, "Proclaim eternal victory, come on and change the course of history." Maybe that section is where we're hatching the plan, because it hasn't happened yet. We haven't executed the plan and beaten the threat, but maybe we know what we're going to do now so that we can be pulled through. And I think this is validated by when we return to this arpeggiating section after this verse and chorus, we can hear the piano in that section, which is a very interesting choice. And I've always thought the vocals in this section sound more like a prayer, very airy and high-pitched, and a call to something higher, something literally higher in terms of pitch. And then the song ends with some incredibly dramatic, the most dramatic piano that we have heard in this whole song, where the chords are played moving up the octaves, increasing that drama. And in this section, we are playing lots of different chords. We're playing minor chords and major chords. I think it's very interesting that the turning points in these melodies are on an A major chord, which in musical terms you could say is the opposite of an F sharp minor, being the relative major key, A major would be, of F sharp minor. So we're playing the same chord but showing two different faces of it, if you like. And the song ultimately ends on an F sharp minor chord, resolving to the very first chord we heard in this song. There is a distinct difference in the bass. Whereas the bass was a C sharp in that very first chord we heard, in the very last it is an F sharp, so there is synergy between the melody chord and the tonic in the bass. And the moving up of pitch from C sharp to F sharp in this song indicates to me that there has been a change. Whatever the plan was that was hatched has been put into action, and something has changed as a result, and it's up to the listener to decide what that is. But I think the moving up in pitch shows that there has been a positive change as a result of the action taken. That this song showed us that even if it would take a miracle or something biblical, that can still be achieved. That would be my reading of this song and my understanding of how it ends. The next song is Time Is Running Out. So if you like this kind of video, it was taken from my Absolution full album review, where I have similar reviews of all of the tracks on that album. Check that one out, like and subscribe, stay tuned for more Muse content, and I'll see you in the next one.